YouTube to pop on. Okay, so we're live on public on YouTube, so we're just going to do a quick pre-market analysis. We're going to look at all the stocks that are on the watch list this morning based on trade ideas and a little bit based on our own personal watch list. So this stock was talked a lot about yesterday, NLST, really the last, I want to say the last couple days, because it's kind of been like moving up pretty heavy in the pre-market and then consolidating for a big part of the day. Big move at the end of the day yesterday. So, word's starting to get out. Again, penny stock, sub $1. We're at that $1 resistance, psychological resistance. We have all of our Fibonacci levels posted up on the chart here today. So these are, stop and go magnets for price. We're going to watch, is price being pulled to these levels? Is it going to be rejected at these levels? Going to oscillate around these levels? This is all stuff we're going to watch. So if you're, interested in penny stocks, this thing's going to be super volatile today. Again, this could completely crash, being a, sub $1 stock. And, we'll have to see if it retraces back to this 50% retracement level. This is that 75-cent level. So, it could get really ugly really quick for this one. So again, don't hold these for, swing trading. If you are swing trading them, hopefully you got a good entry, because this thing could drop, 50 cents in 5 minutes. You never know. So 107 looks like resistance, and we'll have to kind of see how this trades. But we've got some pre-market heavy selling going into getting closer to the bell. We got 15 minutes left, and we'll watch that downside target of 75 cents. That might also be a good area for a bounce, so if you're looking for a reversal. All right, next up, let's look at IZEA. So IZEA has gapped up pretty heavy, consolidating at that 50% retracement level right around 240. And what we see is a little bit of angular resistance up here. And you'll see this a lot of times. You'll see these kind of like tight wedges where it's in a bit of a range. It's kind of trying to establish its trading range in the pre-market, and maybe that carries in a little bit to the opening bell, and you'll see choppiness right in here. And you've got 280 for upside. You got 185 for downside. It can happen very quickly. So IZEA gonna have some crazy volatility. It's a good former runner. If you guys go back to July and then early August, it started to see some popping here. There was this particular day. There was a couple other days where it had some movement, nothing too wild, but couldn't really break this 160 fib that I have. Then it couldn't break 185, pulled back, and now so we're moving higher. So this is definitely one to watch, up and down. Next, let's look at SSC. So if we take a look at SSC, you guys are going to see another awesome gap on this. And we don't know if this is forming a head and shoulders. We don't know if it's going to turn into an ascending triangle. We're kind of looking at the pattern. At least it's bullish, right? So it's a very bullish pattern. It's starting to get lighter volume going into the bell, typical. But it's riding the 9 right now. So, you might have got a good entry on a pullback to the 9 in the pre-market. And you see the fibs right here. That 477 level got passed, and that's where all the volume decided to really jump in. These orange lines are just horizontal, interesting areas of support and resistance on top of the fibs that I have on my chart that are kind of historical price areas where intraday resistance has been tough. So we're above a lot of that, right? And we have 589 as a significant high. I got 590 marked out. So looking at 589. We're really close to that. So a break of that could maybe push us even higher. So, right, we're breaking that recent established high. If we start printing candlesticks above that level, we could maybe hit this 643 level and beyond. So you can see on this particular day, the stock moved up from 487 in one day up to the 570 range. So we're kind of already in that particular pattern, so it could be very choppy. But again, there might be some good trades on SSC. I'm just double checking to make sure Zoom is working for people. I see a lot of people on the stream, so it must be working. If somebody could help on my way in the chat room, that would be great. Let's see. Thank you, Ken. BLPH, this is one that we had on our watch list. Had a really nice up channel. I was very skeptical of this one the last couple of days, but it really proved me wrong, especially when it crossed that 115 previous high. It decided to go on a tear, right? Because it had stalled last week on Friday around that 115 level, and then we got above that, and that's where all the volume decided to come in. So once you see stocks take out those previous day highs, a lot of times you'll get some follow-through volume, kind of pump it up, consolidation, maybe a pump before the bell. And so we'll see if this one holds angular support today. We're definitely in a red day on the markets going into the bell. So we have to be cautious, not so much with the penny stocks, but with higher price stocks that we're going to look at, like Twitter and AMD. We might pay a little closer attention to what futures is doing today. And I have my futures chart down here in the left-hand corner. So Ren, Lone Wolf is talking about Ren, and you're not the only one. So earnings, we have this kind of established 5-minute resistance area. Candles, we're having really hard in the 250, closing above 250. You see a couple of this double top above 250 and a high at 270. So we want to mark out that high at 270. We're going to pay attention to that today. We're also going to pay attention to the half dollar, because you have to. Half dollar, whole dollars, those are very important levels to watch. You can see in terms of daily candlestick resistance, a lot in the 250 zone. So 250 is kind of a magic number for us to start trading above. And I'm going to calculate. We're making good time here. So I'm going to calculate quickly a major retracement on this particular stock, so that we'll see if this major works or not. I'm going to be a few pennies off, but I will adjust it. And I want to find the low, which really looks here. I had this marked out. So let's see the major retracement. Aha, so 257, close to that level, is a major retracement level. So you got your major support way down here, and your next Oh, cool. All right, so we're getting some intel on RENN, that it's popular. It's a very popular stock, so that's cool. It's got a larger float. Not sure how many insiders or institutional holds it, but maybe that float is less. That was kind of a sweet spot. I've been noticing some stocks with that 30,000 float range getting some love lately, some good price action. So we're kind of in this channel as well, so we got to watch out for this channel. We don't want to get our hopes up, but we want to trade what's happening based on these technical in and out areas. And if we get above 250, this thing could maybe just bowl to that, get it done, bowl to that 50% retracement level at 434. I'm seeing the symbol Flyboys talking about AGRX, so let's pull up that. AGRX, super incredible price action off of Major lows of 23. And let's see, the high was 297. So let's do another quick analysis at 297. I got 298. And let's see. Ooh, I got 23. So I marked that out nice. So there you go. You could see that bounce off that fib at 57, crossover, maybe pull back, retest it, and you got 91 for an upside on AGRX. I don't have that on my watch list today, so I'm putting it on now. Thank you for that. Let me just type something quick. Wait, please. Okay. Good advice. So if you guys are ever having trouble with Zoom the first time, just shut it down, start it again. Don't typically have too many issues with it. You guys have given us great feedback. So CVSI, this is on our watch list. This was on our official watch list yesterday. This thing did really well into the bell yesterday, and it closed right at near this fib level around 486, hit a high of 489. Be interesting to see. This particular price action yesterday was great. A little bit hard managing quick entries in it, but you know, you had this, if you look at the 5-minute chart, it really tells a much better story. It's much cleaner, right? You got a much cleaner picture of support and resistance with these moving averages. So we've got these fib levels marked out also right around 450. It's actually marked out at 440. I'm sorry, 545. That's a significant horizontal resistance from a previous intraday low. So we'll be watching 445, 450. I'm sorry, 545, 550, 532. We got some levels to watch on CVSI. Good morning, Big Bear. So that's CVSI. Let me cover a couple of my favorite stocks, or at least one of them. This is my favorite. In terms of ATR, you guys will hear me say it all the time. It's got a great range. We were looking for 30 bucks on this yesterday when we were doing the recap, and it popped out of this ascending triangle right here. This is a nice ascending triangle. Broke out of the apex, rode like a boss all the way to 30 bucks, high of 30.60. 30.90 is the price target today. If it has a good pattern, volume, and decides to maybe bounce with the market. I noticed futures really broke a major support, and you know, currently kind of grinding lower on futures. So we'll have to see how AMD behaves at the bell. Sometimes it trades with a mind of its own, doesn't really care what futures is doing. Yesterday it kind of cared a little bit, but I noticed when futures would hit a good technical bounce area, AMD would also get a little bounce area. And you could see really when it broke this 2837 level yesterday, it ran really nice. Formed the ascending triangle, continuation. Now we've got these waves happening here. We're probably going to oscillate around 30 bucks. Could be choppy for the first 20 minutes, half hour, and then maybe establish a direction on AMD. I would assume that there's a potential for a quick pop to this 30.90, but I'll be watching for a kind of a false move in the morning, especially with futures the way they are. So percentages, yeah. So I don't like to show those because they're really for members only, and I'm streaming them on YouTube, but I'll start changing them once I stop streaming on YouTube. But that's a good question. Yeah, they can be very helpful. So that's AMD. Twitter, I missed Twitter yesterday. I wanted to get Twitter above 30.38 was my level to take along, and I missed it, and because I was on a call. And then it broke this kind of angular resistance that I had from a previous line. Not too crazy of a move, you know. I mean, 20-cent move. We want to get a dollar or so on Twitter when it's ready. And it's trying to put in major support around this 30.38. And eventually momentum is going to start to switch. You might want to look at some other indicators some lower indicators, which I don't have on my chart for streaming purposes to keep my charts clean. So that's Twitter. So we've covered a decent amount of content for you guys so far this morning. And I would say our top looks at this point for momentum and long or short entries or pullbacks. SSC is definitely one. IZEA consolidating nice is definitely one. People are saying Ren looks a little sketchy, and I would agree that Ren is looking a little bit weaker into the bell, but that doesn't mean this could turn into a falling wedge and then break out. So we'll have to watch that pattern. So Ren, SSC, IZEA, NLST is definitely a pump and dump penny stock. So we'll see when it decides to dump, and if it pumps, we'll trade it, and if it dumps, we won't. But it's in the penny stock world, it's getting a lot of attention, so that could be good or bad. Sono, that's another great stock with great price action that had a great afternoon and just got killed on earnings and is now in a falling wedge. So keep your eye on Sono for a bounce, as it might be an overreaction. It's a lot of pulling back, and you can see Sono has some horizontal support down here around 1675 or so. It's got angular like this, so it isn't a big kind of triangle here. So maybe it drops a little bit lower and just really washes out to 1675. Sono might be borrowable. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. And that's all we got for right now. So I'm going to end the stream with YouTube. If you guys want to join us, check us out. We are over at bullishbears.com. Subscribe. You guys can join our trade room, and I'll keep streaming throughout the day, following these charts and hopefully helping you guys out with entries and exits, and go from there. We'll learn how these things behave and see how these patterns play out. So thanks for watching on YouTube. Got a couple minutes before I start the private stream on YouTube, so I want to get ahead of that. So thanks, guys.